am completely sick and tired of hearing that pro-abortion.
크리스틴 호킨스는 미국의 가장 적극적인 프로라이프 단체인 스튜던츠 포 라이프를 이끌고 있습니다. 대학생, 고등학생, 의과대학생, 법학생 등 젊은이들을 오랜 세월에 걸쳐 검증된 자료와 최첨단 과학기술로 훈련시키는 단체입니다. 이 단체 간의 건 모토를 영상에서 보세요. 그냥 프로-라이프가 아닙니다. 아예 낙태를 다시 불법으로 입니다. 낙태는 원래 불법이니까요. 프로-초이스 단체 조직원들은 사실상 배속태아 살인 찬성가들의 다른 이름일 뿐입니다.
People are literally getting away with murder.
There's a physical risk to the mother. Because if that's the case, you don't go to a dirty abortion facility, you go to the hospital. And you have your OBGYN treat you as two patients. Or is you're trying to justify legal abortion by saying some people are going to suffer, therefore we're going to play God and we're going to eliminate the sufferer. I think that's absolutely wrong. Embryo, zygote, fetus, infant, toddler, adolescent, those aren't things we came from, that's who we are. That's a stage of our development. I didn't come from an embryo. I didn't come from a fetus. I once was one because it's a natural stage of human development.
구독과 좋아요, 알람 설정 눌러주시면 큰 힘이 됩니다.
My question is that unborn fetus that cannot live outside the mother, what right do you have to tell me to carry it to term if it's an unplanned pregnancy, and odds are that if it goes into the foster care system, it will face severe neglect and abuse?
So you believe that we should have the right to eliminate the sufferer, not the suffering. Is that what you're saying?
That's not what I'm saying at all, and that's not what my question is.
You just said that if you knew for 100% certainty that the child you're birthing is going to have a lifetime of suffering, that it would be better for the child for you to kill and the life of the child than for the child to suffer. So instead of attempting to solve the suffering of the child, you've just eliminated the potential sufferer, right?
My question was, how do we end that suffering to make bringing a child that is unwanted into this world justifiable?
Well, I think there's a lot of things.
We solve those problems.
We absolutely, I mean, as pro-lifers and as Americans, we care about the children in foster care. We care about children who are being neglected, who are living on the streets with their parents. These are things that we as Americans strive to fix, right? That we give to charitable organizations, that we're involved in organizations in our community, in churches in our community to solve these problems. So I actually don't believe anyone in this room, regardless of whether or not you're pro-life or you're pro-choice, thinks that children should be suffering in foster care or children should live through hunger or homelessness. But what you're advocating for is you're trying to justify legal abortion by saying some people are going to suffer, therefore we're going to play God and we're going to eliminate the sufferer. I think that's absolutely wrong. One, because people come out of adversity. People do suffer, and we will all suffer in our life. But I think it's wrong for you to say, you will suffer, therefore I'm going to kill you.
So bringing you back to my question, how do you propose we solve those problems for the children that are suffering?
So do you want to go through today all the world's problems and all the United States problems and try to solve? Because this is a common thing we hear in the pro-life movement. You're pro-life, but you don't care about people once they're born. You don't care about women after they're born. In fact, if you have to be pro-life, we have to do 30 different things. Yet, are you upset that the American Diabetes Association doesn't fight cancer?
I specifically simply asked about
Are
the foster
you
care
upset
system.
that the American Diabetes Association doesn't fight cancer?
No,
Why?
because they are the Diabetes Foundation.
Exactly. I'm the anti-abortion. Next question. That's the next question, because you just answered my. You answered
where I
it
asked for
yourself.
a proposed solution to our issues in foster care and child homelessness.
Okay, we can have a debate. I can do a whole lecture about foster care. We can do a whole lecture on homelessness. These are great problems that we face in our nation, right? These are dilemmas that we face. And there's different policy prescriptions for how to solve those things. But my organization, my mission is very limited. It's to abolish abortion, to make abortion illegal and unthinkable, because abortion is the greatest human rights tragedy our world faces. There's no other act of violence that kills more people every single day in America and across the world than abortion. There's nothing wrong with me fighting and spending 100% of my time doing it. Just like how there's nothing wrong with the American Diabetes Association putting 100% of their money, their research and time behind curing juvenile diabetes. No one ever accuses the Diabetes Association or the American Cancer Association of not trying to cure every life-ending disease. Because we all understand, in order to be effective, in order to achieve our goal, you have to remain laser focused on your goal. It's very basic business principles, right? It's very basic. But yet, what we hear often from those who disagree with us on abortion is what's the pro-life movement doing on all of these things? That we have to solve all the societal ills. We have to address all of them in order to be heard. And the reality is you don't really care what I do. That I support children in third world countries, or that I might be volunteering at a soup kitchen, or many people in the pro-life movement are actually, they're the foster parents, they're leading the adoption efforts. It's just an argument to try to stop the actual discussion from happening, which is abortion is a moral wrong and it should be stopped. Your argument is essentially that it's a human, it's a member of our species, it has its own body, but because of where it's residing, you should be able to do whatever you want. So essentially what you're doing is you're treating another human being like your property. Is that right?
No.
Because you're treating this as your property. Well, if I can do whatever I want, this baby's inside of me, it's inconvenient to me, I can dispose of it, I can kill it. Right? I can use this, twist off a limb, pull it out, and that's okay. That act of violence is okay because it's my property.
What I'm saying is that while the baby is inside of your body,
창조주를 모르고 앞뒤 좌우를 분간 못하면 우리 모두 얼마나 잔인해질 수 있는지 들어보세요.
actually, essentially that is what I'm saying. While the baby is inside of your body, you have the right to decide what to do with it because it resides in your body, because it is a part of you, because it is not yet its own autonomous thing, because it is directly affecting your life,
What
and
happens
because
when
most
the child
abortions
can survive
occur.
outside the womb? I'm asking you, since you made the argument that it's a woman's body, she can do with what she wants, and you said it's her property. If the fetus can survive outside of the womb, is it moral to still abort it?
I think if the fetus can survive outside of the womb, there's no doctor that would abort it. They would obviously, like you said.
그 누가 플랜드 페런트후드처럼 사악한 짓을 대놓고 하는 단체가 있을 거라 생각이나 하겠습니까? 누가 만삭이 다 된 산모 배에서 애를 꺼내 죽이는 걸 가족 계획으로 기획할 생각을 감히 하겠느냐고요.
Choose
You've
that
never
option.
met a late-term abortionist then. You can Google late-term abortion tonight, and you can find late-term abortionists who commit abortions. So Dr. Carhart is in Maryland. He goes between Germantown, Maryland, and Omaha, Nebraska. Every single week, he goes back and forth. He operates 2 late-term abortion facilities, and he says you can abort for whatever reason, because it's your right, up until the moment of birth, and he commits late-term abortions every single week. The 2 abortionists in Albuquerque, New Mexico, the abortionists in the Denver Planned Parenthood, they all commit late-term abortions. Women do choose late-term abortion. And it's not for reason of there's a physical risk to the mother. Because if that's the case, you don't go to a dirty abortion facility, you go to the hospital. And you have your OBGYN treat you as 2 patients. When women who are visibly 9 months pregnant, visibly 8 months pregnant, go to an abortion facility, they're choosing abortion because they feel like they have to, because it's environment, they're living in poverty, they have something, the child has some fetal abnormality. That's the reason they choose to abort their child. You don't end suffering, though, or potential suffering, by eliminating the sufferer. That's not how it works. Does that make sense?
So like you just said, those women would only choose to have a late-stage abortion because they feel like they have no other option.
No, I've actually met women. I was reading an article today of a woman in Canada who chose a 9-month abortion because she said she wanted to. Her boyfriend broke up with her and she didn't want to have the baby.
And that's her right to choose.
Her right to choose what?
To not have the baby, her right to bodily autonomy.
So you believe that when
Thank
a
you.
fetus
Thank you
can
for
survive
sharing.
outside the womb, it's okay to still abort? You've answered my question. Thank you. Next question?
그러나 학부모님들 잊지 마세요. 학생 스스로 저런 생각을 할 경우가 얼마나 될까요? 소위 자기 권리를 위해 저와 같은 잔혹함이라 여기지 않게 되는 건 조직적인 교육과 위대한 세상 문화가 지대한 몫을 해낸 결과입니다.
I know throughout your talk you're speaking of making abortion illegal, and I just want to know what about basic female autonomy and our choice to choose these certain things.
Yeah. So as pro-lifers, we are pro-choice in many things, right? We believe she has the choice to choose what health care provider she goes to, what college degree she gets, what college she goes to if she wants to go to college, what spouse, what anything she wants, right? But your autonomy, your ability to do whatever you want with your body, stops when it harms someone else's body. This is why in hospitals, you can't smoke within so many feet of the entrance. Why can't someone go into the pulmonary ward and start smoking up? Because their right to ingest harmful chemicals that are going to probably give them lung cancer, their right to do whatever the hell they want with their body, stops when it hurts my child. Because it hurts someone else's body. And that's the entire premise of the pro-life movement. That we can say this is all about bodily autonomy, but the question is what body we're talking about, because abortion deals with two bodies.
Yes, it does make sense. I just disagree.
So you said you disagree that it's not a human, it's a human being. Like, you agree, right, that at the moment of conception, a human being is created.
Wait, what?
Do you agree that when sperm and egg unite, the moment of conception, fertilization,
It's a collection
that
of cells
unique
to create a human being. Yeah.
Is that collection of cells a unique human being?
It's a collection of cells to start creating a fetus, which grows into an embryo, which grows into a human being. Yes, I agree with that.
Oh, you just denied science.
I didn't deny science.
Because embryo, zygote, fetus, infant, toddler, adolescent, those aren't things we came from. That's who we are. That's a stage of our development. I didn't come from an embryo. I didn't come from a fetus. I once was one because that's a natural stage of human development.
태아였다가 엄마 몸 밖에서 사람으로 태어난 게 아니라 수정된 순간 엄마 뱃속에서 이미 한 사람이 태어난 거고, 엄마 뱃속에서 태아 사람이었다가 유아 사람, 청소년 사람, 성인 사람이 됐다는 말. 너무 확실한 답입니다. 생명을 사랑하는 여러분 모두를 응원합니다.